Okay. Now, what are the features of the general purpose processor? So first feature is a program memory. So I have told what is the use of program memory. Okay. So whatever the fixed code or instructions you can store into the program memory, whatever the variables or the data that is going to change, you put all those kinds of variable into the data memory. Okay. So this data memory is nothing but the RAM, random access memory. And what is program memory? Program memory is a that is ROM. Okay, so whatever the fix you can put into the ROM. Now another feature is it having a general data path with large register file and general ALU. Okay. If you have any problem, you can put into the chat box. Okay. Now, what is the benefit of using the general purpose processor? Okay, so the first advantage of using the general purpose processor is the low time to market and low NRE cost. Okay, that means I have three types of processors. Okay, so what is the advantage of using the general purpose processor? The first advantage of using the general purpose processor is that the time to market, okay, that means I can launch my product into the market as early as possible if I use this kind of processors, okay, called as a general purpose processor. Another thing is the design cost for general purpose processor is also very low, and the flexibility of your processor is very high. That means I will get more flexibility. Flexibility means the design flexibility. That means I can use this processor, okay, for different applications. Okay, for example, that I have designed this processor for addition. I can change it for multiplication and also division. So that is what the flexibility. I can perform different types of tasks. Very important or most popular example of this general processor is the Pentium. Okay, so Pentium processor is an example of general purpose processor. We can perform multiple or different types of operations by using this processor. Okay, so this is all about the general purpose processor. I think you have got the idea. Okay. So just understand the architecture of this processor. It having two memories, it having controller and also data path. Here, your ALU is a general purpose, and you can perform the multiple tasks. That is a general purpose task. Okay. So I think somebody has unmute themselves. So please mute yourself. So it will reduce the disturbances. Okay. So it is getting disturbed. So please mute yourself. Okay. Disable particular. Okay. Is it clear? I think the general purpose processor is clear. Okay. So it is simply the example of microprocessor or the Pentium type of processor. Okay. And with the help of this, you can perform multiple tasks. Now, second type of processor is called as a single purpose processor. Okay. So single purpose processor, in the name itself, they have given it's a single purpose processor. The meaning of this, the purpose of your processor is already decided, and that is dedicated to single task only. Okay. That means this processor is not multifunction. It will perform only single task only. Okay. Single task only means you cannot change the hardware of this processor. It is dedicated to that application only. If you want to change the application, you have to change the hardware. That is what the meaning of the single purpose processor. Okay, it's a dedicated. Now if you observe the architecture of this single purpose processor, so there is no program memory. Okay, so the program memory is absent already, and it having a controller which having the control logic, it having state registers, it having data paths. There are two registers only, index and total, and this is the plus means adder. So there are two registers and one adder. So that is sufficient. Even we are not going to use the ALU also. Just say arithmetic logical unit. We are not getting or we are not going to use arithmetic logical unit, because ALU will perform addition, multiplication, subtraction, and again different types of operations. But in a single purpose processor, okay, we are not going to use these all different types of operations. We are just going to use the required functionality only. Okay, so what is the required functionality? So for this purpose, now just see. Here one example is taken. The example is again very simple. The code is written here: total equal to 0 for I equal to 1 to n loop, and total plus equal to mi n loop. So this is the code for addition of the array. We are going to add the contents of your array. So that is what the example. Okay. So in this case, if I have to add the contents of array, so I will require only one arithmetic operation, that is the addition. Okay, so I will use adder. Now in this program, I will not require the subtraction or the division or multiplication. So I am not going to use those operations. Okay, that means I am not going to use the general purpose ALU. Okay, rather than I will use a custom type of ALU which performs only addition. Okay, so this will reduce my hardware cost. Okay, so in single purpose processors, all the hardware is completely dedicated to only one task, and in this example this is dedicated to only the addition of array. Okay, whatever the contents are there in an array, you have to add the contents. Okay, so that is your task. So if you observe it carefully, in the single purpose processor, the hardware is reduced. Okay, and everything is specific. Everything is so specific that is only required to that particular task only. Okay, that means I'm not going to add any other functionality here. Okay, that is whatever required, you have to choose only those blocks only. Okay, so that will build your single purpose processor. Okay, so what is the definition of single purpose processor? You just observe here. It is nothing but the digital circuit designed to execute exactly one program. Okay, so single purpose processor is nothing but the digital circuit which performs only one task or only one program. Okay, now what are the good example of this? So in the last in some last lectures we have seen the example of digital camera. Okay, here we have applied the different design metrics or features of embedded system. Okay, so if you go to the internal block diagram of your digital camera, it contains lot of blocks. Okay, like coprocessor, accelerator, or peripherals. So here, okay, so let us go to the block diagram. Okay, now just see here. This is the block diagram of your digital camera, and inside this digital camera there are different processors. Okay, or there are different blocks. So first is A to D converter, then CCD, then pixel coprocessor, D2A, then you have the microcontroller, JPEG codec, DMA controller, memory controller, UART, LCD. Okay, so now if you observe inside this digital camera, so here microcontroller is called as a general purpose processor. Okay, because by using microcontroller I can perform different tasks, so that's why this is called as a general purpose processor. However, all other peripherals like pixel coprocessor, JPEG codec, now these are the examples of single purpose processor. That means these particular processors are designed to perform only a specific task. Now what is the specific task? For example, JPEG codec. What do you mean by JPEG codec? Anybody? Already you have heard the word, that is JPEG. So what is the long form of JPEG? Long form of JPEG. Anybody? Unmute yourself, it will save our time. there are 25 students. So what is the long form of JPEG? Falke, what is the long form of JPEG? You see, already you are using these files in your pen. You are capturing the pictures by using your mobile, okay, and you are saving it in the file formats of JPEG or bitmap. So what is the long form of JPEG? Just see, you are in final year right now. So what is JPEG? Yes, Snehal Kakade has given the answer. Joint Photographic Expert Group. Okay. Samiksha also have given the answer. So this is the correct answer. Okay. Now next is a Kodak. What do you mean by Kodak? Yes, Masale also have given the correct answer. What do you mean by Kodak? Just hurry up. What is Kodak? Anybody? Kodak? Codec means coder and decoder. That is what we have studied. Okay. So codec is a combination of coder plus decoder. That is encoder and decoder. Getting? Now this is what the long form of JPEG and Kodak. Now the next question, what is the use of JPEG Kodak? What do you think? What is the use of JPEG Kodak then? Okay. So this concept shows that only knowing the long form is not sufficient thing. Okay. You have to understood it thoroughly. So what is the use of JPEG Kodak? Anybody? So this is used to code or decode, that is called as to compress or expand your signals. Okay, now what kind of signal here? Here is only image or the video signal. So it is used for encoding, that is compressing or decompressing of image or video signal. That is what the use of JPEG. This, and we are using it everywhere. This JPEG coder and decoder is implemented in everywhere. Wherever you are going to use a mobile, not a mobile, camera, maybe in your laptop, in your camera, anywhere you use these kinds of cameras, and the JPEG will come automatically. Just see. So that is what the role of this JPEG codec. Now in our this particular slide, this is nothing but the example of single purpose processor. That means the function of this JPEG coder is only single function. That is, either if it is JPEG coder, it will encode your image or video. If it is JPEG decoder, it will decode it. Okay. So these functions are fixed. That means I will require specific group of hardware only. Okay. So now that is what the technology called as a single purpose processor. Okay, so coprocessor, accelerator or peripheral, these are the example of single purpose processor. I will give you a very good example of single purpose processor. Just see, if you observe it carefully, all the softwares, okay, all the softwares are licensed. Okay, so there are two types. It is an open source software and second is a licensed softwares. Okay, now what is the difference between this? License means you require some kind of code, some kind of key, and that key is restricted to only some group of pieces only. Okay, for example, if I purchase a software for a embedded software of Keel Microvision, okay, or I have purchased the software of MATLAB, okay, or any other VLSI software, that is Xilinx. Okay, so all these softwares are called as a licensed software. Okay, and license means I can purchase it for 5 user license, 10 user, okay, 15 user, 100 user license. Now what is the meaning of this? The meaning of this is, if I have some kind of a hardware and that is nothing but the single purpose processor. Okay, so if you observe it carefully, there is a dongle. It is called as a dongle. Are you getting? We are using dongle for our internet connections. So such a kind of dongles are called as a USB device. Okay, that is manufactured to provide the licensed version of your softwares. Okay, otherwise anybody can use your software free of cost. Okay, I can purchase a software and I can use for 100 users, or I can give it to other persons also. So that is the problem. So how to make it to the specific group of people? By giving some kind of license. So the license is nothing but one kind of hardware that you have to attach to your particular computer. So if I have a 5-user license, I can be able to install my software, okay, on all the terminals, that is on all the PCs, but only 5 PCs you can use at a time. Getting? And how to use those 5 PCs? So for these 5 PCs, first you have to install that software and you have to insert your that dongle, either that is called as a USB. Okay, now the question is, what is inside that USB? So inside that USB there is a single code. Okay, that is some kind of password given to your institute, okay, who have purchased your that particular software. Okay, so some kind of code is directly insert into your data memory. Okay, so in this okay, is it visible? So some kind of code is copied into this data memory, and the code, your PC will compare the code from your that dongle, that is from your USB. Okay, and if this code matches, only then your software will be on. Otherwise you are not able to access that kind of software. Now just see, this is what the best example of single purpose processors. Okay, are you getting or not? Okay, so just remember this. So single purpose processor is very important in these applications. Now what are the features of this? It contains only the components needed to execute a single program. Okay, no other components are that is mounted on this kind of processor. So hardware is reduced, no program memory is required. Okay, so if I use single purpose of processor, now what is the benefit of this? So the first benefit is fast. So these single purpose processors are very fast because you are going to execute only one task. Second, since the hardware is reduced, the power consumption is also reduced. Okay. Second, since we are choosing only the required number of components, so the size of this processor is very small. Okay. So everything you are achieving by using a single purpose processor. Another name of this single purpose processor is called as a one-time programmable microcontrollers. Okay, that means I can program it for single time only. Okay, that means my processor is dedicated to that applications only. I will do the significance of this single purpose processor. That means why single purpose processor are very important. Now let us take the scenario that my company is in India, okay, and my all customers are in the abroad, that is in foreign, and I have designed some processor and some applications in abroad, okay. And now if there is any problem with my system, then what is the procedure? So those customer has to report to me, okay, then I will send the required components or processor to those peoples, okay, through whatever the different courier system, through that is through sea or through aeroplanes or any other that is transport. Getting? Now this will take more time. Are you getting? If this is the case, either I will send it through the air transport or the sea transport, but the time required to transport these components is very high. Now how to reduce this time? So there is a solution. The solution is a single purpose processor. So what I will do, I know that I have designed the system for those abroad customers. So I will program my processors, okay, for a single task. Get it? because I have designed my system for that particular task. So I will download my code into all those processors or microcontrollers, okay, at the start of the installation itself, and I will give those processors, that is whatever the processors I have downloaded with that particular specific functionality, I will give those processors to the customers at the same time. Okay, so now whenever there is a problem, okay, now they can nowadays there is a functionality that we can remotely also find out the fault of the system. No need to go abroad or up to that system and then to find out the task, to find out the faults. So if you get the fault, and you can suggest that to change the processor itself, okay, so this will save the lot of time and also the cost. So now this is what the significance of single purpose processor. Okay, why single purpose processors are very important? Because of this. Okay. Now we go to the third processor. Now the third processor is called as an application specific processor. I think I am audible to everybody. Okay. Third processor technology is called as an application specific processor. Now again, this processor technology is very interesting. Okay. You have studied, that is your lectures are already started on the VLSI. Okay. Now what is the meaning of VHDL? You have studied the VHDL. What do you mean by VHDL? VHDL. What do you mean by VHDL? This is a concept from VLSI. VLSI means very large scale integration. What is VHDL? Anybody? VHDL, it's a, again, it's a hardware descriptive language. Okay, hardware descriptive language. So in VHDL there are two devices, okay, called as a FPGA and CPLD. Okay, FPGA means field effect transistors. Okay, CPLD. So there are these two types of devices are there in this FPGA and CPLD. So that is what the good example of application specific processors. Okay. So now let us come inside the architecture of the application specific processor. Again, just observe it having a controller. Inside controller there is a control logic and the state registers, program counter and the instruction register. Okay, so this block is common compared to the your general purpose processor. Another block is data for registers. Now just see custom ALU. Custom ALU. This is not a general ALU. Then there is a data memory and program memory. Now let us understand the meaning of custom. Okay, what do you mean by custom? Just see, everything is depend on this particular spelling, custom. Anybody?
As per requirements.
As per requirement, or this is called as per specifications. Okay, so everything is specific. Custom means highly specific. Okay, it is not a general. So there are two types only, either general ALU or the custom ALU. General ALU means you can perform different tasks. Custom ALU means only the it will perform only the task, okay, for what we have designed our processor. Okay, custom means it's all about the given specifications. Okay, so that is very important. Custom means for application specific actually. So application specific processor contains all the components that are present in your general purpose processors. Only the difference is that the ALU. Now in general purpose, the ALU is custom. It can perform different types of or general purpose operations. However, this application specific processor or in application specific processor, ALU will perform the customized operations only. Okay, let's see, customized operations only. So application specific processor, you just see the definition first. It is a programmable processor optimized for a particular class of applications having common characteristics. Okay. So anyone get the meaning of application specific processor? Okay. It is a programmable processor optimized for a particular class of applications having common characteristics. Now, what are the examples of application specific processors? Okay, so I will tell you the two types of specific processor. First is a microcontroller and second is a DSP processor. Are you getting? Now the application of microcontroller is done in embedded systems. Are you getting? So microcontrollers. Okay, I have 10 minutes. So microcontrollers will be used in the applications of embedded system. Getting? So and DSP processor is used in image or video signal processing. Okay, so the application is very different. The application of controller is done in terms of monitoring, that is you can read the inputs, you can monitor the data, and also you can able to control the data. So microcontroller is one example of application specific processor. Another example is a DSP processor. Okay, so what is the meaning of this application specific processor? That means now you are able to change the programming, okay, or you can able to change the functionality of your ALU, okay, but according to your application only. That means if I use here microcontroller, so all the functions or all the operations related to your microcontroller can be performed by using this application specific processor. But if I use it, but rather than this microcontroller, if I use the DSP processor, now I am able to perform only the task related to only the signal processing. Okay, that means image processing or the video processing or audio processing. So that kind of applications I can perform by using a DSP processor. Okay, but I cannot perform controlling type of operations that are done by the microcontroller. Okay, so now that is what the difference in the application specific processor. The meaning of this, that application specific processors will perform the functions related to that particular field only. Okay, first is embedded field, second is a that is digital signal processing field. Okay, so that is what the difference between the application specific processor and the general purpose processing general purpose processor. In general purpose processor, what we are doing, we are performing different types of application. That means I can perform a embedded types of operations also, and also digital signal processing type of applications. So both the applications can be run in on a general purpose processors. However, on application specific processor, I can run either the embedded related operations if I use microcontroller, or DSP related operations if I use the DSP processor. Okay, so that's why this is called as a custom ALU. Okay, designed for that particular type of applications only. Okay, so this is called as a compromise between the general purpose and the single purpose processors. Now, what are the features of this application specific processors? So it having a program memory, it having an optimized data path, it having a special functional unit, that is a custom ALU. Okay. Now, what is the application of this application specific processors? So first benefit is it having some flexibility. Okay, it is having some flexibility. It doesn't have the higher flexibility, but it having some kind of flexibility. That means you can change the programming of this application specific processor according to your application. Okay, whether it is embedded or DSP. Then it gives good performance. Okay, the performance of this processor is also good. Size and power is also getting means the size is also less. Okay, and also the power consumption is also less compared to the general purpose processor. Okay, so now that is what the difference between the general purpose processor, single purpose processor, and the application specific processor. In VLSI, this concept is called as a ASIC. That is called as a application specific integrated processors. Okay, maybe you have heard that ASICs. Okay, that means these processors are designed for particular class of applications only. Okay, whereas single purpose processors are used for a single purpose only one task. And in a general purpose processors, you can perform different kinds of tasks. Okay, so this is what the difference between these three. This is what the difference between these three types of processor technology. So here, general purpose processor technology is called as a software based. That means it is highly flexible. Okay, you can program different types of programs with the help of general purpose processor. Okay, next is single purpose processor. So single purpose processor is called as a hardware because it is a dedicated hardware like your dongle or some that is for to give the license to some software. So it is a single dedicated hardware. So also a single purpose processor called as a hardware. Okay, and application specific processor are called as a ASICs. Okay, so this is what the difference between these three processor technologies. I think you have got the difference. Okay. There is one more technology called as IC technology. Okay. Maybe in next lecture we will see the IC technology. Okay. I think this is sufficient. Okay. Some of the people have already left the lectures. Okay. So we will stop here. Okay. Is it fine? Just give me the feedback. Okay, so in this lecture, just try to remember what is the processor technology. So there are three technologies, that is general purpose processor technology, single purpose, and application specific processor technology. Okay, and you have to just remember the difference between these three. Okay, general purpose already we have seen. Any kind of function you can perform. On single purpose processor, only one specific applications you can run, and on application specific you can run a different task of same kind of applications. Okay, like embedded systems or the DSP processor. Okay, so that are the examples. We will take a attendance. Okay, so I will call the name. Just you can unmute yourself and say present or not. Okay, so first Baravkar Mansi. Baravkar Mansi, present or not?
Present, sir.
Present. Barne Ushali.
Present, sir.
Bhosle Kiran.
Present, sir.
Chavan Kalyani. Chavan Kalyani is absent in gap now, I think. Okay. Okay, next. Devkate Monali. Dhavde Abhishek.
Present, sir.
Gore Pratiksha.
Present, sir.
Harshada. Jadhav Kajal.
Present. Present.
Okay, Jagtap Sanchita, I think. Jarad Prashant.
Present,
Jarad.
sir. Present, sir.
Kakde Snehal.
Present, sir.
Kutwal Saili.
Present, sir.
Matsale Priyanka. Okay. Madni Mayuri. Marshikari Dhiraj.
Present, sir.
Patole Nikita.
Present, sir.
Alke Namrata.
Present, sir.
Satpute Pallavi. शिंगरे अपेक्षा रोहित तळेकर रोहित ऍबसेंट. गायकवाड तीक्षा ऍबसेंट. अग्रवाल कुणाल
Present, sir.
महामुनी अमित. अरे अमित दिसत नाही रे. अग्रवाल जरा त्याला सांग. महामुनी. भोसले प्रतीक्षा
हो.
भोसले आहेत का? भोसले प्रतीक्षा ऍबसेंट. भोसले ऋतुजा.
प्रेझेंट.
देशमुख समीक्षा प्रेझेंट. ओके. डोके